أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Praise for Allah, the Almighty, God and peace and blessings be upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Welcome back, dear brothers and sisters, in our weekly program in ICC, and we are with a new episode of the Tadabbur class. And we've stopped last time at the story in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered al-malaika and Iblis to make prostration to Adam. And if you still remember a sujood or prostration before the revealing or the revelation of Islam had two kinds before the revelation of Islam, قبل الإسلام. The first kind is the prostration, as sujood, as an act of worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second kind is a sujood as a token of respect. إما أن يكون السجود عبادة أو علامة للاحترام. هذا قبل الإسلام. فكان الناس يسجدون للملوك ويسجدون لأصحاب الشأن وهكذا. So it was a token of respect it was not an act of worship. But when Islam was revealed, then a sujood is just made and be exclusive for worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why the Prophet ﷺ, in one of the ahadith, he directed us and he said ﷺ, as if he said, لو كنت آمرا أحدا أن يسجد لأحد لأمرت الزوجة أن تسجد لزوجها. And the word لو means if. And he said, if the sujood, if the prostration was permitted, to be done for anybody else other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I would have asked the wife to make sujood to her husband. And the word if here, this is an impossible hypothesis. So hypothetically speaking, the Prophet ﷺ just makes a hypothesis which is not true, something which will not exist. So after the revelation of Islam, every sujood, every prostration is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, must be only for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as an act of worship. And we had some thoughtful reading and we had some pondering, some tadabbur of this situation. And we said, if you remember, with responsibility or with authority comes the accountability. You remember? With authority and responsibility comes the accountability, not only honor. Some of the people, they want to be, I want to be the president of this country, I want to be the boss of this company. Some of the people, they think only in the honor. But some of them, they do not think in the responsibility. They do not think in the accountability that will follow such kind of honor or responsibility or authority. Now you are honored to be the president of a company. That's nice. But remember that you are responsible in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you will be held accountable in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the day of judgment about the responsibilities that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. So this also was one of the themes that we learned together from this story. Then we stopped at the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when he said, وَلَا تَقْرَبَا هَذِهِ الشَّجَرَةِ فَتَكُونَ مِنَ الظَّالِمِينَ. This is an order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Adam and Eve. Don't come close Don't come close to this tree. Don't touch it. Don't eat it. Don't eat from it. I mean, don't touch it. I mean, don't eat from it. Then you will be a wrongdoer. Then you will be a wrongdoer. And we have stopped here last week. So, wrongdoing, الظلم, big word. What does it mean? Linguistically speaking, الظلم هو وضع الشيء في غير موضعه. For example, if the mic should be put here, and if I put it deliberately somewhere else, which was not prepared and set for this mic, with the intention of corruption, then I made ظلم. وضع الشيء في غير موضعه. When you intend to do that, then you are doing ظلم. And ظلم has two main categories. ظلم المرء لنفسه وظلم المرء لغيره. So when you are wronging yourself, so wronging oneself and wronging the others. Two main categories of ظلم. So how could a person wrong himself? Everybody loves himself to death. Everybody loves money a lot. Everybody works everybody behaves according to what works best of his interest. And he doesn't care about anybody else, anything else. He thinks in himself first. Let's say a car dealer, he is doing a transaction or something like that. Everybody in the deal looks at what works for the best of his interest. It makes sense. I'm not saying this is wrong. It makes sense. This, what made it logically eccentric or weird. You know, when you say a person wrong himself or herself or wronging oneself, how is that? Everybody loves himself and wants everything good for himself. The scholars, they said ظلم المرء لنفسه ألا يقيها المهالك أو أن يوردها المهالك. So when you wrong yourself is when you make yourself vulnerable to والعياذ بالله, to disasters, to problems, to catastrophes, when you put yourself in danger. And the highest danger ever is when you worship someone or something with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah made it very clear, إِنَّ الشِّرْكَ لَظُلْمٌ عَظِيمٌ. This is the benefit of التدبر. When we link between the ayat together, ayah from Surah Al-Baqarah, another ayah from Surah Luqman, now you link. يا بني وإذ قال لقمان لابنه وهو يعظه يا بني لا تشرك بالله إن الشرك لظلم عظيم. And you look at the style that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used. He used inna, harf tawqid. This is a particle of emphasis to emphasize the meaning. And he used also al-lam. This is another emphasis or particle of emphasis. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is emphasizing this fact. Worshipping someone with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or associating a partner with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a big dhulm, big wrongdoing. This is how a person wrong himself. This is the when oneself wronging himself or herself, okay, or wronging oneself. So the second item of wronging oneself is when you commit al-ma'asi, when you commit sins, especially deliberately, عن عمد. When you insist on disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I would like you to underline the word insist. The word deliberately, عن عمد, تصر. Because كل بني آدم خطاء. Everybody makes sense, nobody is perfect. But when you make a mistake, you make a mistake spontaneously بشكل عفوي, then you make توبة. وخير خطائين التوابون. The best of those who are making sins, those who are repenting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So some of the people, they are planning for the sin, and insisting on it. And when somebody tells them, brothers, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, taqillah, stop sinning, he will say, okay, Shaykh. Okay, thank you for advice. I'm good, thank you. Have a good day. And he maybe even start mocking at you or making fun of you. It's a big problem. This is another image or aspect of wronging oneself. هو يظلم, لكن في الحقيقة يظلم من؟ نفسه. Because actually when he passes away, nobody will benefit him. All what he has done in this life will go with him in the qabr, in the grave. That's it. Let's go to the second category. ظلم المرء لغيره. When you are a wrongdoer to the others. Number one, when you are a wrongdoer to your spouse, whether you are a husband or a wife, when you don't give your spouse the rights. Okay? If you are a man, you are just humiliating your wife, or if you are a woman, you are taking advantage of your husband and you try to take an advantage of the system. In some of the Western countries, in the US, for example, okay, 50-50, and I will take his money, I'll just file a divorce just to take half of his. And there is no reason for divorce. Just except for having the 50 of the money. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If the judge gave you this sentence and gave you what you were seeking for, you will come in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, this is what we said. You will be held accountable in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is one of the images of dhulm. If I am just speaking or talking about the images and aspects of dhulm, wallahi, I may be needing lectures and lectures, a lot of lectures. Okay? Another image of doing dhulm also, when a person wrongs or be a wrongdoer to his neighbors. Big problem, especially if they are non-Muslims. You need to take care of them with two intentions here. Intention number one, that you are giving him haqqul jira, the right of neighborhood. Shaykh, he is non-Muslim. Doesn't matter. This is how beautiful our religion is. Then the second intention, it's a da'wah. You call him to Islam practically by your akhlaq, by your manners. Does it make sense? By your manners. Even when you cook, some of our parents, they taught us, even when you cook something and when you know that your neighbor will smell this beautiful smell, maybe of the soup or the meat, just give him a plate. But some of the aspects of wronging your neighbor, when you are just playing music very, very, very loud, and he cannot rest in his house. When you are spying on him, just what is in your hand, and you go to his son, come, what did your dad do? What did your mom? Why are you doing this? Why are you spying and playing games? Just stay in your lane. Okay? This is also another image of wronging the neighbors. You didn't give him his right. Also, a third image of wronging the others is when you wrong your employees, when you know that they are weak, Wallahi, some of the people, they take an advantage of some other people because they have some certain status, some certain statuses, you know, and you know, he was supposed to work with X. He may be just giving him his salary X minus 10 or X minus 20 just because his status, because he knows that he cannot complain. Except he has no any other choice. Go. It is what it is. Take it or leave it. Right? It happens with some of the people. Oh my God. Just fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even if his status does not allow him to complain to the human beings, to the judges here in dunya, in life, but he still can complain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As in, you're gonna be in the hot water. You're gonna be in a tight spot. If it is between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it's a big problem. If he filed the complaint to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just wait. The one who is gonna discipline you and punish you is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is also another image of dhulm. A fourth or a fifth image of dhulm. When you make dhulm to your deen, how is that? You make dhulm to your deen. You are wronging your Islam. How can a person wrong Islam? Is when you be, okay, a bad representative of Islam and Muslims. When you are cheating in your business, cheating if you have a shop or something like that, thinking that they didn't notice, they didn't pay attention, and when they noticed later on, they will say, oh, I was dealing with a Muslim. Look how Muslims behave. This is the first word that he will say. I understand generalization is wrong. Generalization is wrong. But some of the people will think like that, right? They will think like that. Look how Muslims behave, how Muslims operate. It's a big problem. So now you did dhulm to your deen and to your ummah. Now you are distorting, distorting, to shawwih. Now you are distorting the image of your deen. And you are distorting the image of the ummah. Why are you doing that? This is also another kind of dhulm. And this is the benefit of tadabbur al-Quran. Pondering on the Quran. And not only knowing the tafsir, the meaning, but to try to get the message. As we said before, a tadabbur is of 3 stages. You know the meaning first. Then you try to grasp the message. Number 2, the message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala conveyed. Then number 3, to take this message, to put it into action. To take this message, to put it into action. This is the big benefit of a tadabbur, is to try to get the messages behind the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and try to activate your deen. Try to activate your religion and to put it into action. Not only just talk. Talk is cheap. Okay, as the people say. They say, look, he said, I am honest, come and buy from my shop. No, let your actions speak, because actions speak louder. Actions speak louder than words. At the end of this lecture, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from being among or from the wrongdoers. صلى الله عز وجل أن يحفظنا من أن نكون من الظالمين أو في الظالمين أو حول الظالمين. اللهم آمين. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت، اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت، وعافنا فيمن عافيت، وتولنا فيمن توليت، وبارك لنا فيما أعطيت، وقنا واصرف عنا شر ما قضيت، فإنك سبحانك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك، وإنه لا يعز من عاديت ولا يذل من واليت، تباركت ربنا وتعاليت. اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من زوال نعمتك وتحول عافيتك وفجاءة نقمتك وجميع سخطك. اللهم اجعلنا من المحسنين. اللهم اجعلنا من المحسنين. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. اللهم زدنا ولا تنقصنا. اللهم لا تنقصنا وأكرمنا ولا تهنا وأعنا ولا تعن علينا وآثرنا ولا تؤثر علينا، وصل اللهم وسلم وزد وبارك على سيدنا محمد، وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. وإياكم بارك الله فيكم. وإياكم بارك الله.